As the title of the video suggests, today we're going to talk about a very underrated form of housing for solo travelers when in Korea, and that is goshiwons. So the million-dollar question here is, what is a goshiwon? A goshiwon can often be referred to as a goshitel, a one-room tel, living tel, whatever. But what they are is a kind of single occupancy room. Originally, they were designed for students preparing for exams so they could have a place to stay that's closer to campus so they don't have to spend time on the commute. They're usually characterized by low rent, shared facilities like either bathrooms or the kitchen, laundry, etc. You'll find really small rooms with just a bed and some like closet space and maybe a desk, either with a shared bathroom or having their own private bathroom within the room. Because of their original intent, you can find a lot of goshiwons near universities, but nowadays a lot of people choose to live in goshiwons because it is a cheaper form of living. Office workers might live in them as well, so now you may find these types of housings in other neighborhoods too. So for my stay this time in Korea, I opted to go for a goshiwon because I did not want to spend my whole 2.5 weeks in a dorm room bunk bed, even though that is the most economical way to stay and travel. Like, I just didn't think I could handle that much. I don't know, it's just a lot to handle for such a long time. If I wanted to opt for a private room at a hostel or like an Airbnb, whatever, it is a lot pricier. So I decided to go for goshiwon because even though the space is minimum, I do get to have my own private space, which is ultimately what I am looking for, right? So this is the entrance to the goshiwon. Most goshiwons, I realized, are like they take up 1 floor or 2 floors of a whole building. Mine is on the 2nd floor. Unfortunately, the elevator does not go there, so I had to take the stairs. And then outside, we have shoe lockers. Our dryer is out here as well, because there is a door, there is a lock on our main door. All deliveries, food or whatnot will be left out here. There's a total of 32 units. So, yeah, rooms this way with communal bathrooms. And then over here is the kitchen. Got filter water, there's rice, and then there's also communal kimchi. There's also a ton of ramen here. And then we have the 2 laundry machines with laundry supplies. All the trash gets thrown here as well. And then there's a freezer here if you want to use that. They have these rolls for everyone. Communal kitchenware and all of that here. And of course, most importantly, a room tour. Ta-da! This is my room. So this is the first time that I've actually unpacked my stuff from my suitcase. I usually just live out of my suitcase, which by the way fits under the desk pretty perfectly. I have a bag here for trash because I'm lazy, and this way I can just dump everything at once in the communal trash. I have snacks and foods here. I also bought my own dishware because I thought it was more convenient that way, and also came in handy when I got COVID. They have a mini fridge in here, so I have some foods and drinks. One of my main things when getting goshiwon was I wanted my own bathroom because I felt like that was the only way it would make having this room worth it. And so I'm so glad that I was able to find one. It is quite small, so I usually just leave the door open to create a bigger space. The bed is a regular twin size bed, and then underneath the bed we have a drawer where I actually put my clothes. Like I said, I usually live out of my suitcase, but for once I decided to unpack and live a little bit more comfortably. I also put random things in here, like my jacket, bags, and laundry, so it's all more easily accessible for the 2 weeks that I'm here. I think a really big thing for travelers, especially foreigners like us, is how do we go about finding these types of goshiwons when they're mainly targeted towards like locals, right? I think for foreigners, the easiest way is through Goshi pages. They list the accommodations by region, either by the university that you plan on going to or staying near, or you can search it by like actual neighborhoods, and then you can also contact the goshiwons directly through Goshi pages platform. A lot of the goshiwons also list their own Kakao ID. The plus side to reaching out to these accommodations who are listed on Goshi pages is that they are already accommodating to foreigners. So you won't have to worry too much about communication being an issue there. Another way to find Goshi pages, which is how I actually found this place, is through Naver. I literally just went on Naver Maps and searched the word goshiwon and then click through to see like pictures and like location to see if I liked it. I found it a little bit harder for those who listed their accommodations through like the Naver platform itself, like having their reservation and chat system through Naver, because as a visiting foreigner without an ARC, it's really hard to verify my identity on the Naver platform, so I can't really use those tools. I was only able to reach out to places that had listed their Kakao ID information as well. So that leads into like my experience and process of finding a place was, prior to coming, unfortunately, I did not have access to Naver because I was in China, so a lot of things were blocked. Even Goshi pages was technically blocked, but my VPN that I had was like a free VPN that allowed me like limited access to certain websites. Through Goshi pages, I was able to contact a few in the area that I want to stay in, which is the Hongdae area, and then most of them were actually booked up. There were only 2 that were available. I decided to book a hostel for the first 2 days of my stay so that I can actually come and see the rooms in person. So that's a big tip for all of you who may be considering this as a method. Whether you are traveling here, whether you are coming for a language program or coming here to study, whatever, always see the place in person. Why? Because you never know the actual condition of the room. The size of the room is really hard to tell through the pictures. Also, the pictures may be outdated. Also, a really big important thing is the surrounding area. For me, that was kind of what made me decide to take this place actually, is because it was the most convenient. On a map, you can see that, oh, it's like 6-minute walk from the subway, but what is that walk like, right? Is that walk bumpy? Is that walk an uphill incline the entire way? How many floors is this place? Going there in person gives you an idea of like how you can actually get there, what the walk will be like going home every single day. And the moment that I arrived in Korea, I started going crazy on Naver Maps and like contacting people because there were a lot of places that weren't listed on Goshi pages, right? So for those places, I had to, really rack my Korean brain and like really befriend Papago, and try to use my limited Korean to communicate, to ask if there was a room, let them know that I'm actually a foreigner. So that's why I'm looking for a shorter term stay, because most goshiwons are monthly rentals. Some of the places were really nice in that they would be like, this is our daily rate, but if you pay for the whole month, it's actually cheaper than your daily rate. So like they will work with you on price points. So I ended up touring a bunch of goshiwons the first 2 days that I was here. The first place that I went to is called Singles One Room Tel in Sincheon, and this place was kind of one of my like backup reach outs because I already knew that the location wasn't really ideal to where I wanted to be, but I was like, if it's close to the subway, maybe it will be okay. The moment that I tried to go there, I was like, no, this is like way too far. It's so far from the subway station, and there was an uphill incline. The price points were more reasonable. There was a room for 390,000 won. There was another for 410,000 won, and then the last one was like 500,000 won. But even though they all had their own private bathroom, none of them had outdoor facing windows, and that was one of the things that I realized was really, really important to how a room feels. They had windows facing towards the hallway, which really wasn't very comfortable. Felt more like claustrophobic. I realized from that one place, I was like, no, I need a window that's facing outwards. I think that would have been a good location if I were going to Yonsei for like a language program or something like that, because it is right next to campus, just on the other side, not by where the like subway stations are. Second place that I went to visit was also a place from Goshi Pages, and it was called Charles Goshiwon. This one had a better location, but it was a very concerning location. It was literally in the middle of Hongdae, like one block away from the main street, and so very convenient to find and like convenient to go out and all of that, but concerning because I was like, it's so close to like the main street. I wonder how loud it is at night, you know? This one also ended up being one of the most expensive ones, but again, they were listed on Goshi Pages, so they were very accommodating towards foreigners and short-term stays. The moment that I started asking about price points, I realized there were a lot of like hidden fees. So not only was the room itself more expensive, like the room itself was a little bit bigger than the typical room, I guess, that I've seen, and it looks a little bit newer, but it had a bunch of fees like deposit fee and also like cleaning fee, all of that added on, making it even more expensive than it was. The third place that I saw was called Staytrack Hongik. The location was also one of the reasons why I did not end up going with that place. The room was on the 5th floor and there are no elevators. Not only do I not want to take my luggage up those stairs, I just don't want to climb those stairs every single day. So I was like, nah. That's why I ended up with this place, which was, even though it's on the 2nd floor, no elevators, it's much more reasonable for a daily climb. I particularly like the layout of this room, even though there's like a pillar here, making it kind of like an abnormal shape. I am able to actually tuck my suitcase away, and also if I needed to, I can lay it out and have enough room within the room to go through my luggage. Having stayed here for a few days already, some pros and cons for staying at a goshiwon as a solo traveler. Mind you, the con, of course, it is a really small space. For those who are not used to it, you might find it claustrophobic, might find it hard to like maneuver in. But if you are already staying at hostels in dorm rooms, this is definitely an upgrade, is what I think. The bathroom is really small, so that is something that you might have to take in consideration. That is something that you won't really know if you'll be able to handle until you see it in person and actually like go in it. The other con is the facilities may not be like the newest or like the highest tech, but it works. And I think that's like a really big winning point for a budget traveler, I guess. The biggest pro for me is you get your own space. Like, as small as the space may be, and the walls still may be kind of thin, so you do want to be respectful, you know, at nighttime, not to make calls too loudly and all of that, but it is way better than sharing a bunk with a stranger every single night, that with only like a curtain to separate you. Another pro is the shared kitchen. Most of the shared kitchens come with free rice, ramen, and kimchi. That's already more than what most hostels give you. The third one is, if you are extroverted, you can probably have the opportunity to make some local friends while using the shared kitchen facilities. If you're more introverted like me, you're not obligated to be in people's presence all the time. Going on to price points, we talked briefly about this when I was talking about all the other places I was looking at, but I would say most goshiwons go by monthly rental, but some do offer daily prices. The goshiwon that I'm staying at here is 25,000 won a night, so for my whole entire stay I am paying 400,000 won, and then I also am renting the use of the pillow and comforter because you typically would bring your own, but because I'm traveling I clearly do not have those things, so I paid an extra 10,000 won for that use. Like I mentioned earlier, there are some cheaper ones that you can find for maybe like 380,000 won for a month up to like 600,000 won a month. It really just depends on the size of the room, whether the bathroom is inside the room or if it's shared, if there's a window or not. All of those factor into the cost. Typically, a goshiwon would ask for like a deposit beforehand to reserve the room, and most of the reservations in Korea are done with bank transfers. Unfortunately, as a traveler, you do not have access to that. We came to an agreement that I would pay in cash in full on the first day of moving in. Overall, I am very happy with my decision to stay at a goshiwon this time. I personally am not afraid of small spaces as long as it has everything that I need. I find it very comfortable. I don't know about you, but I can only handle so much of like dorm living. If you can do 2 weeks in a dorm, props to you, but if you want to, you know, have your own space, this is a great option to look into. I think this would also be a really good option for those of you who might be looking into doing like a language program here or studying abroad. But if you're studying abroad, you probably want to stay at an actual dorm or actual apartment because you'll be here for longer term. But yeah, anyways, I think short-term stay here will be good. I hope that this was interesting to see and helpful for my fellow solo travelers. Let me know in the comments below if you would stay at a goshiwon next time you visit Korea. And I will see you guys next time. Bye! Is okay. Hope you enjoy the rest of the Korea videos.